Hello, hello, and welcome to Nursing News You Can Use at 5. I'm Tina Baxter, your host. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in on our YouTube channel, the Nurse Shark Academy channel, and also those that are following us on our Facebook pages, the Nurse Shark and Baxter Professional Services page. We're going to get started today with our first affirmation, and this is coming from the Louise Hay calendar. And it says, I am teachable, life is an education, and I am a student. I am doing the best I can, and every day it gets easier. I am teachable, life is an education, and I am a student. I am doing the best I can, and every day it gets easier. So that is from the Louise Hay calendar. Let's get started with a couple of quick announcements. First of all, this evening we are having our Nurses Protect Your License event. That will be at 6 p.m. So if you have registered for that event, you should have access to the Zoom link. And so you can come into that. We're going to talk about identity theft and protecting your nursing licenses. So I wanted to encourage you to be present for that event at 6 p.m. Also, we have coming up at first, a CPR class will be coming up on the first Wednesday in October. So if you need CPR, you need to be certified, please sign up for that class as soon as possible. And we are looking to fill that class and pack that class out. So I'm asking you to go to Baxter Professional Services healtheducation.com and sign up for our renewal CPR training on the first Wednesday in October. All right, let's go ahead and get into the news because we do have some things that we need to cover. So here's our first story. This is coming out of Skilled Nursing News, and it says American Healthcare, REIT, acquires remaining interest in Trilogy for $258 million. Okay, so American Healthcare acquired the remaining 24% minority stake in Trilogy REIT Holdings for a total all-cash purchase of approximately $258 million. The acquisition included a base purchase of $247 million and $11 million pro rata distribution owed to the former joint venture partner and affiliate of North Star Healthcare Income, AHR, said in a press release on Tuesday. American Healthcare funded the purchase using net proceeds from an equity offering. Additionally, the company utilized part of these proceeds to repay about $194 million in outstanding debt on its lines of credit, strengthening its financial position. AHR is now the sole owner of Trilogy Holdings and its integrated senior health campuses. We are excited to have completed the acquisition of our joint venture partners' 24% minority membership interest in Trilogy Holdings and an accretive and leveraged neutral manner, said the AHR's president CEO. We paid down existing outstanding indebtedness on our lines of credit with the remaining proceeds from our recent common stock offering, which will result in further accretion and borrowing capacity. In other words, they're able to get more money now. Trilogy Management Services will continue on as an operating partner. We look forward to the potential future growth opportunities we will be able to access with the completion of this transaction. So California-based American Healthcare is a self-managed real estate investment trust that acquires, owns, and operates a diversified portfolio of clinical healthcare real estate properties focusing primarily on outpatient medical buildings, senior housing, skilled nursing facilities, and other healthcare-related facilities. Its properties are located in the United States, the United Kingdom, and the island of Man. This is a very big organization, so we'll see what happens. But just a little information, if you work for Trilogy, yep, we'll see. It got bought out. Okay. So let's get into, this is another one of those sad cases. And I wanted to share this because I don't think we are thinking through some of these things. So one of the things that I'm planning on having in October or early November is another workshop. I'm going to have a workshop, and it's going to be about nurses using their nursing license and understanding to think of it as their business. And the reason why I say that is because we find ourselves in sometimes positions that can jeopardize our license and even bring criminal charges against us. And what I'm seeing now is the criminalization of a lot of actions due to low staffing and understaffing and things like that are reflecting on the individuals involved. And so this is why I bring out these stories, because we need to talk about it. Let's discuss. Give me your comments, okay? So it's local nursing home patient death ruled homicide. It's coming out of Toledo, Ohio, my hometown. WTVG. A local nursing facility is the center of a homicide investigation. Arbors in Oregon is accused of medically neglecting a patient for months. In her golden years, at the twilight of her life, she deserved to be treated with dignity and respect. And Arbors of Oregon just did not provide that to her, nursing home abuse lawyer Matt Mooney said. 72-year-old Lucy Garcia was a nursing care facility resident for years at Arbors at Oregon. She was recovering from a stroke. She died on July 2nd, 2024. According to an autopsy report performed by the Lucas County coroner, Garcia died from months of medical neglect. And this is why I bring these stories up, because this is horrific. Okay. Okay. So it says Oregon police said they were given the case after the coroner presented its findings to the prosecutor. According to Arbors at Oregon's website, the facility offers care focused around each individual, but the family lawyer maintains the nursing home failed to provide her with basic care. The nursing home represented to the family that they could do that. They could take care of Lucy's needs, which included making sure she was protected from getting bed sores, and that's a very basic care need. It just involves moving patients, getting them out of bed if they're able, and if they're not, rotating them in bed so that different parts of the body don't cause pressure on their backside where these sores form. The facility failed to do it. 13 Action News went to the nursing home to get a comment from the director of nursing, the administrator, but they could not comment and would pass the information on to someone high up. In other words, they can't comment on the pending litigation. The family's lawyer said Lucy Garcia raised 4 successful sons as a single mother, and they're devastated. They want some accountability for what happened to their mother. The mother's passing was just terrible. No one deserves a pass like this. These bed sores are just a terrible way to go. They are a terrible way to go. This is not the first time the nursing home has been under investigation. In 2019, an employee was convicted of patient abuse. So I want to say that here's what's different about this case, because usually these are civil cases. Civil litigation comes out of this, but now this has reached the place of criminal charges. And so we were just talking to our nursing students today, our CNA students today in clinical, and we told them, you have to make sure you do what you're supposed to do, document appropriately, but do the work, because your life depends on it, your resident's life depends on it, your livelihood depends on it, and you don't want this to be raised to the level of a homicide because you neglected them. And so this is what's happening. So I wanted to share this story. I want to definitely share this story with my students tomorrow, because I think they are, next week, because I think they need to know that. All right, so let's go on to our next case. Our next case. My mind's in legal case. Our next story. All right. All right, this is, let's go back to this one, because I thought it was kind of interesting. This is across the pond, but we've been covering the strikes and what's been happening in other places in the world. This is in England, and it says nurses in England says the 5.5% pay raise is not enough, according to the BBC. Nurses in England have said that the government's award of 5.5% pay raise is not enough, the Royal College of Nursing, or the RCN, has said. 2/3 of the 145 members of the RCN who voted online said the raise was not fair. The pay award for 2024 to 25 was announced by the Chancellor at the end of July, shortly after Labour won the general election. In a letter to Health Secretary Wes Streeting, RCN General Secretary Professor Nicola Ranger said nursing staff were determined to, quote, stand up for themselves, their patients, and the NHS. But the union is not planning to ballot its members to see if they wanted to take strike action. Instead, it is planning to see how the government responds to this vote. The union argues that the pay of an experienced nurse fell by 25% in real terms under the conservative government between 2010 and 2024. The union was involved in strike action again during the late 2022 and early 2023, which we also covered on this show. But that ended after other NHS unions accepted a deal made in the spring nurses, quote, do not feel valued, adding that they were concerned by understaffed shifts, poor patient care, and nursing careers trapped at the lowest pay grades. As ministers prepare to set out a new health and social care agenda, Professor Ranger added, the government will find our continued support for the reforms key to their success. She said that the government will need safe numbers of nursing staff who feel valued if they are to raise standards and reform the NHS. The announcement follows a vote last week by junior doctors who now called resident doctors to accept a multi-year pay rise to end their long-running dispute. At that time, Professor Ranger said, we do not begrudge doctors their pay rise. What we ask for is the same fair treatment from government. Health and Social Care Secretary Wes Streeting said, we know what nurses have been through in recent years and how hard it is at the moment. That's why, despite the bleak economic inheritance, the chancellor awarded them with an above-inflation pay rise. For the first time in a long time, nurses have got a government on their side that wants to work with them to take NHS from the worst crisis in its history to get it back on its feet and make it fit for the future. We will work with NHS staff to turn this around together. So we will see what happened. RCN members in Scotland have voted to accept the 5.5% pay increase. A Scottish government spokesperson said that the Scottish offer starts from a higher baseline than the English offer, which is likely why there are different outcomes. So we'll keep an eye on this. But if you're in the UK, I'm pretty sure that this is something that you are dealing with. Let me know how's it going. What do you think about this? Give me a heads up because I'm curious to see what happens. All right. So we're going to go ahead and take a brief break and then we'll go back for our last couple stories. Tired of feeling trapped in a job that no longer fulfills you? Is your nursing job no longer the fun-filled adventure you imagined? Find your passion again through nurse entrepreneurship. Step out into the light and come feel the sun. Join the Nurse Shark Academy today at thenurssharkacademy.biz and come feel the sun. All right, here's our next story. This is coming from WBUR News. Vermont hospitals are headed for bankruptcy. A plan to keep them afloat calls for dramatic changes. Vermont's hospitals are in trouble. A new analysis found that the state hospitals would need as much as $3 billion in subsidies from commercial insurance increases or taxpayers to remain solvent over the next 5 years if immediate steps aren't taken. That figure comes from a 142-page report outlining a plan to radically transform the state's healthcare delivery system to bring down costs while continuing to provide access to care. The report was mandated by statute and put together by the consulting firm Oliver Wyman, whose team conducted a series of meetings with thousands of patients, healthcare workers, hospital leaders, and advocates over the past year. There is no hospital in Vermont that is not in jeopardy, stressed Dr. Bruce Harmery, a consultant who specializes in redesigning healthcare delivery and former infectious disease physician who led the work on the report. You just can't afford inaction, he said at a presentation Wednesday to Vermont's healthcare regulators. Some of the headwinds facing the state's costly healthcare system: commercial insurance rates are some of the highest in the country and have increased by double digits for 3 years in a row, far outpacing the national average. Most of the state's 14 hospitals are operating at a loss, and those losses are expected to worsen in coming years. Vermont's population is aging and shrinking, which will put further strain on the healthcare system and workforce. Patients face long wait times for primary care and specialty care and have inadequate access to community based services, leading to expensive, sometimes unnecessary hospital visits. Low income households in rural areas face some of the greatest barriers to accessing care, stemming from a lack of affordable housing, transportation, and culturally competent care. The report outlines a litany of recommendations to change the trajectory of healthcare finances in the state. Even with immediate action, experts caution it will take time to bring down commercial insurance rates. Probably 2 years minimum if things really move, Hammery said. Some hospitals admit just one or two patients a day. The number of people really affected by not having inpatient acute care services is very small. The space and staff could be repurposed to provide other services like mental health care, memory care, or skilled nursing facilities. The report also suggests emergency departments could be converted to urgent care centers or shifted to a non physician model. Closing inpatient services is a major concern for Mike Del Treco, the head of Vermont Association of Hospitals and Health Systems. For a hospital in the Northeast Kingdom, we are going where are people going to go, he said during a phone interview. This work is predicated on having outpatient community services available, and those don't exist. North Country Hospital President and CEO Tom Frank echoed these concerns in an emailed statement Thursday. As the state's most rural hospital, we have patients who have to drive an hour to get to us for care today. We already partner with Northeastern Vermont Regional Hospital and Northern Counties Healthcare to deliver care across our 2,027 square mile, 21% of the entire landmass of the state of Vermont service area. The fact is, we reduced our costs year over year in this year's budget, and we only provide the services that are necessary to support our community. The outgoing and incoming leaders of Gifford Medical Center said that they are also disappointed by many of the Oliver Wayman's report's recommendations. While we know this report to the state was coming, its contents are frankly shocking. Outgoing President and CEO Dan Bennett wrote in an email statement, "We will continue to advocate strongly for Gifford, for our patients, for our team members, for our future, to ensure Gifford is here to provide care in our region for generations to come." Michael Costa, who will lead Gifford starting in mid-October, added that the suggestions have the potential to harm rural communities and some of the most vulnerable Vermonters. So this is something that there's more into this story from NPR. Please take a look at this. If you're in Vermont, let me know what you have to think about this. There has been a big shift to try to provide more services in home, out of the hospital, and other areas. So let me know what you think about this if you're in Vermont. Again, there's a whole lot more to the story, but I just wanted to share that with you at this time. All right, so how about a little bit of good news? So I have a couple of stories here. The first story from U.S. News and World Report and the Atlanta Journal. It says U.S. News and World Reports names Nell Hodson Woodruff School of Nursing as top program in the country, and that's at Emory University. So congratulations to Emory. The rankings are in for the best Bachelor of Science in Nursing programs in the United States, and an Atlanta-based college has climbed to the top. According to U.S. News and World Report, Emory University's Nell Hodson Woodruff School of Nursing has the best program in the country. To place each program, the news outlet issued a peer assessment survey to the deans and senior faculty members of 686 nursing schools nationwide. The participants then ranked their peers, and this is how they came up with it. So it says, and this is the first time the program has risen above the competition. The school's master's program was ranked the best in the country in April. So having two number one programs is a remarkable achievement, said Dean Linda McCauley, PhD, RN, FAAN, FRNC, and a news release. It shines a light on our commitment to visionary nurse leadership and our efforts to enhance the profession and healthcare. I'm delighted for our entire school community. The fall semester, the nursing school grew to 1,450 students, including 340 in the bachelor's program. We have invested greatly in the development and growth of our BSN program, and this top ranking is a tremendous validation of this effort. I appreciate our faculty and staff, and I'm proud of our alumni, students, and who are among the best and brightest in the nation. We're excited to see how they shape the profession as they graduate. Emory has also ranked 24th in the nation for U.S. News and World Report's overall college ranking. So, congratulations to them. I thought that was nice that to hear that about a nursing program that's doing well. We often report about the school closings and things like that, but I thought for a change, let's highlight something that's going positive. And so for our nurse making a difference, this is our last story. Yes, we want to talk about this nurse. And this is coming out of North Dakota. Longtime Watford City nurse reflects on Hall of Fame career. So every nurse deserves to be celebrated, but every year the North Dakota Nurses Association honors a few nurses who have gone above and beyond. Each year, the association inducts a new nurse into the Hall of Fame. It's a big honor, and one this year's inductee isn't sure she deserves. But those who know Maria Berglund say this is an honor years in the making and one that's even more special after the past few months. Berglund was born to be a nurse. She's been dreaming of this career since she was 5 years old and spent a couple of weeks at the hospital. She's never forgotten the kindness of the nurses who cared for her. She said they made an impression, a very good impression. They were very caring. Okay. So she's worked for the past few decades in nursing, and it says that she's moved to Watford City in 1977. She said at that time she was seeing mostly geriatric patients. She said they were in their 40s and 50s when I came here. So just seeing them over time and see them go through their cycle of life, it is work that Berglund is glad to be doing. For a few months ago, she became a patient. She said she had a slight stroke on the right side of her brain. She had to take a couple of weeks off work, but now she's on the road to recovery. She said work helps. She is grateful to be back to work, and everyone at McKinsey Health is happy she's back. She's a power of example to our organization, to the staff that we have here. McKinsey Health CEO, Pete Edis. She really is an icon in the nursing world. She's an icon who earlier this month was surprised to be inducted into the State Nursing Hall of Fame. I am dumbfounded, she admitted. Still, she hopes that this award might inspire others to pursue their nursing dreams. At 79 years old, Berglund has finally started thinking about retirement. She's thinking about calling it a career at the end of 2025. If she does, Dr. Ramich says he'll retire too. So, congratulations. She is our nurse making a difference. I thought that was just wonderful to share that with you all. And I'm so glad for all that she's been doing. All right, that leaves us it. That's it for our news for today. We have a shorter news cycle today, which is perfectly fine with me. And I want to thank you for tuning in. And I will see you next time.